Hello everyone and welcome back to a new video. When I'm filming this, it is the 25th of January, but when it goes live, it will be early February. And I want to talk about winter. Winter was a bit late to hit here in Sweden, but now we're definitely in it. We got ridiculous amounts of snow around New Year's where I live, and then it got cold for a bit, and then we got more snow, and then it thawed for a bit, and some of the ground was actually visible again, and now we've gotten more snow over this past weekend when I'm filming this. And I think it's safe to say that winter, at least where I live in this part of the Northern Hemisphere, isn't going anywhere. So today I wanted to talk to you about a topic that I've thought of on and off for the past couple winters, I want to say, and just share some findings, share some reflections with you about wearing skirts in winter. I am someone who really enjoys wearing skirts year round. Ironically, I am wearing trousers today, but I really do like wearing skirts. And I have actually found skirts to be more comfortable in winter than pants sometimes are. And there is science behind it. Who knew? So there are a bunch of factors that goes into this, like type of material, the length and the weight, as in thickness of the material, and I imagine also the type of cold, like a dry cold versus a wet cold. But there are actually findings that skirts are better for staying warm. Now, like I said, obviously fabric plays in, and I'm someone who generally reaches for a lot of natural fibers. I want to get to only natural fibers, but I have some of my skirts, for example, have a bit of polyester in them, or they have a synthetic lining. But as a rule, I don't really buy synthetic fibers anymore. I set a rule for myself a couple years ago to not introduce any new clothes into my wardrobe that were more than 25% synthetic, and I don't have a set rule for myself anymore, but generally I go for natural fibers, and natural fibers are also really good for the whole warmth aspect. And spontaneously I myself would think of wool. Wool is a warm material, it's generally pretty thick, it holds its heat, like it's a warm material like I just said, and that would be my go-to thought of like wool would keep me warm. But a lot of other natural fibers also do that really well and are far preferable to synthetic fabrics. Now, a lot of the science for why skirts are warmer than trousers is the air that you have under it or in it. So with a skirt, you have a little bit of a tent going on. It of course also depends on the length of the garment. If you have a teeny tiny little micro skirt, you're probably not going to be very warm. But if you have a longer skirt, say knee length or longer, it's a bit like a tent. So you have the side of the skirt, you have your legs, and then you have the other side of the skirt. It's an enclosed area where the legs are, so there is air being trapped between the fabric and the leg, and the fabric and the leg, but there's also air being trapped in the midst of it all, like the legs are in the same cylinder. If we compare it to trousers, you have one cylinder per leg, and so the body heat from your legs don't really meet in the middle like they do in a skirt. I don't know if I'm making sense. And so there is a different kind of circulation, like air current going on in a skirt, again, a kind of a longer skirt, not a mini skirt, than there are in trousers, because trousers are, again, separate cylinders, and there's one leg in one sheath of fabric, sort of, and that does make a difference. I also find skirts much easier when it comes to layering for warmth. So with skirts, I'm fine with wearing tights, I can wear leggings, I can wear tall socks, I can wear bike shorts, I can wear second skirt under it if I want to. I could also wear pants under, like trousers under if I wanted to. There's more space generally, again, depending on the shape of the skirt, but there is more space to add multiple layers to it. In a pair of trousers, you can do leggings, you can do tights, although I personally hate doing tights under pants. I find that so uncomfortable. But you can do the tall socks, you can do long johns, but you can't usually fit as many layers, I find, under a pair of pants as you can under a skirt. And for skirts, you can also use leg warmers, which you can for pants, but it can get quite bulky depending on the material of the trousers, and if you put the leg warmers under or over, that's a whole thing. I personally do feel that I stay a lot warmer in skirts, even if I don't do a lot of layers of layering. Whereas in trousers, I don't feel like that is the case. And Yes, it can depend on the type of trousers you have. For example, I do have my wool culottes. They do keep me warm. They do. They are wool, and then they are cotton lined to about the knee so that the potential scratchiness of the wool doesn't get on your thighs. So yes, they definitely do keep me warm. Whereas other thick fabrics, for example denim, I don't feel keep me as warm. I have worn jeans in the past. Currently I do not own any, but I've worn them in the past, been outside in the cold, come in and either changed my pants or like gone to the bathroom and just realized how cold my thighs are even though I've worn this thick fabric. And had it instead been a denim skirt, it would be the same material, but again you'd have this sort of tent shape situation and the air would circulate in a different way and you'd probably be warmer. Now I am pretty biased. I generally feel like skirts are more comfortable than trousers, but pretty much every time I have worn trousers out, no matter how comfortable they are, no matter how soft they are, when I come home, the vast majority of the time I will switch into PJ bottoms or sweatpants, whereas if I've worn a skirt out, that does not happen nearly as often. And this is regardless if we compare the trousers to the skirts as the same type of waistband, the same weight of fabric, the same thickness of fabric, like all those factors, I will still more often switch into sweatpants or PJ bottoms when I get home having worn trousers. Now I am someone who prefers big skirts, which makes them potentially warmer then because it's a bigger tent for the air to circulate in, but also it's like wearing a bit of a blanket, isn't it? Again, it depends on fabric. If it was a large polyester clingy, staticky kind of fabric, I wouldn't feel the same way. But for example, this skirt, which I have right here, this is a pleated cotton skirt with an elastic waistband and it's kind of wide. It's not massive in the skirt, but it is pretty big. That is like wearing a blanket. And I don't go around thinking, ooh, I'm wearing a blanket. But when I sit down, I can get warmer in a skirt because I can tuck my legs in. I can create a little cocoon of warmth when I'm sitting as well. And I mean, the same air circulation heat thing is also true when you're sitting. It's just less of a tent shape and potentially more of like a pillow shape, depending on how it sits when you sit. But with all of this being said, I am now going to take the trousers that I'm wearing and go outside to shovel some snow, and we'll see how warm I stay. I should maybe change into a skirt, but I'm not going to do that. I think I will still be fine in what I'm wearing right now because I have layered under these trousers. But I would love to hear in the comments down below what you prefer, skirts or trousers. Have you reflected on the fact that you stay warmer or cooler in one or the other? Do you disagree with my assessment that skirts are warmer? Let me know in the comments down below. I know that I a while ago looked into how many outfits that I'd worn in the previous 12 months from whenever I looked into that I'd worn with skirts or trousers, so I think skirts and dresses versus trousers, and I was actually fairly even. I do think that skirts and dresses won. I don't quite remember the numbers right now, but if I removed the dresses from the equation, trousers won. So again, I'm not exclusively a skirts wearing type of person. I am, like I said, wearing trousers right now, but I've had the thought of skirts keeping me warmer than trousers for the past couple winters, and I decided to look into it, and there was science! Who knew? Thank you so much for watching. I'll be back with another video soon, so I hope to see you then. Bye!